A very good evening, welcome to Championship Live for the final game of the opening weekend of the new season. It's been a dramatic weekend full of goals and action, as well as a managerial departure. Of course, Ryan Lowe, the Preston head coach, left by mutual consent over the weekend. A dramatic opening weekend, and Preston on the managerial roundabout already, even earlier than anyone's predictions. Not sacked, mutual consent. But tonight, we witnessed two sides who were relegated from the Premier League last season, Luton and Burnley. Two sides who were promoted just a season earlier. Burnley champions of the Championship and Luton the winners of the playoff final. They face off again to wanting to do it all over again for the hope of being one of the 20 teams in next season's Premier League. Luton, of course, back at home at Kenilworth Road, was kind of the talk of the Premier League last season with its interesting qualities. But Burnley have had a happy return to their stadium, winning in the Championship season and winning here last season in the Premier League. Already this weekend we saw some big results, as I mentioned, some big shocks as well. And for sides swapping leagues, either relegated or promoted, only one of the sides promoted from League One failed to get anything out of the opening weekends so far. Derby beaten on the opening night, but newly promoted sides Portsmouth and Oxford got a point and 3 points respectively in their opening games. And Sheffield United, who were also relegated from the Premier League last season, won on Friday night. These two teams want to get off to a winning start, but a draw wouldn't be the worst result in the world on the opening weekend of this season. So, at Kenilworth Road tonight, it is going to be an exciting one to finish off the opening weekend with a bang. Let's have a look at the two teams then for this one, and we start with the home side. And Rob Edwards talked about wanting a few more in the door, but they look financially stable according to Rob Edwards, and we'll see if they will bring anyone in. At the moment, this is their starting lineup. Thomas Kaminski continues in goal from last season. A back five with some youngsters in the side. Jedozi Ogbene drops as that right wing back. Ruel Walters, one of those new youngsters, alongside Ted Mengi, and Joe Johnson, also a youth player coming through for Luton, and Alfie Dalty at left wing back. In midfield, Shandon Baptiste and Zach Nelson, another one of those youngsters, as well as the traditional front three from last season, Tahith Chong, Carlton Morris the captain, and Elijah Adebayo. For Burnley, well, Scott Parker, the new man in charge of Burnley after Vincent Kompany's departure to Bayern Munich. James Trafford continues in goal for Burnley in the new season. Connor Roberts, Dara O'Shea, Maxime Esteve and Lucas Pires make up the back four. Josh Brownhill, the captain, and Josh Cullen are the midfield two, with Wilson Odobert a bit further forward. Vitinho off the right, Luca Coliosho off the left wing, and Lyle Foster leads the line for Burnley. Two sides that suffered relegation last season, but they have history of recent promotion campaigns. They'll be hoping that is the outcome this time round. They get their seasons underway next. A very good evening and welcome to Championship Live. I'm your commentator Kevin Ferris for the rest of this evening, and we're going to bring you through this final opening weekend game in the Championship at Kenilworth Road. We will see if these two sides can get off to the perfect start, which they're both hoping to start the production of their new promotion hopes for the new season. Of course, Burnley were crowned champions of the second division of English football over a year and a bit ago, when Vincent Kompany led them to that wonderful triumph. But last season was a struggle, and they had to finish in the bottom three alongside Luton, who suffered similar results. Both sides not doing enough to stay in the top division, but they want to get back there, and that is their ultimate aim. And we'll see if they can get off to the right start here tonight as we get underway. Burnley in their away strip this evening. Luton, of course, unchanged. Actually, their home strip. One of a number of sides in the EFL that have decided to not change their home kit for the new season to help fans with costs. To make sure that they don't need to buy a new home kit. They can keep last season's and it not be out of date. I think Brentford done a similar thing a few years ago. Burnley, they're in their away strip tonight, white shirts and light blue shorts. But under new regime, Burnley, of course, Vincent Kompany came and gone. 2 seasons as the Burnley manager. In his first season, he got the Burnley up into the Premier League, and then last season, of course, departed at the end of last season when relegation was confirmed after joining Bayern Munich. What a rise. Burnley to Bayern Munich. A Hollywood rise for Vincent Kompany. But of course, Scott Parker is one man who actually has a lot of history of promotion from the Championship. Got promoted twice before with 2 separate clubs, Fulham and Bournemouth. So has certainly kind of ridden this roller coaster before. Of course, obviously, Rob Edwards, that continuity between managers kind of would give those Luton players that real confidence that they can go and do it again, like they did a year ago or so. 2 years ago, 2 seasons ago, but you know, we'll see what they can offer tonight. And as I said, Rob Edwards was looking at some new signings, maybe hinted at, but a few youngsters tonight that we'll watch out. Of course, one of the centre backs this evening, Joe Johnson, is in the England under-18s, 18-year-old, born in 2006. At the moment, has played before. Did make the bench quite a number of times. Actually played in Luton's final game of the Premier League season last season in a 4-2 defeat at home to Fulham, but only played a number of minutes in that one. Joe Johnson, so he starts tonight. Zach Nelson is another one to keep an eye on, 19-year-old for Luton. Has been involved in the club friendlies. Actually scored both of Luton's goals in a club friendly on the 20th of July away to Goztep, and was involved a few times last season, in and out of the side a couple of times when injuries were a problem, of course. But credit to the youth academy of Luton. They can have these players ready to go this evening for this. Ruel Walters is another of those youngsters as well for Luton. So some youth mixed with that previous experience in this division. I mean, we talk about the front three of Tahith Chong, Elijah Adebayo and Carlton Morris, who's the captain tonight. Morris and Adebayo and Chong, to an extent, played a vast majority of Luton's Premier League games last season. And they'll be the mainstays, I'm sure, for the majority of this campaign. Burnley get a free kick down on that right hand side. Burnley actually have, as I said, a good record coming to Kenilworth Road, so they certainly won't be fearful of tonight's action. The last 2 visits to Kenilworth Road were winning visits. Actually, the last 4 trips to Kenilworth Road, all wins for Burnley. 2005 they won 3-2, 2006 they won 2-0, and then more recently in 2023, both occasions in 2023, in the Championship they won 1-0, and in the Premier League they won 2-1. So Burnley do have a winning mentality somewhat here at Kenilworth Road. It's not that many could say over the years. However, Burnley do struggle at home against Luton. They've drawn the last 4 meetings that they have faced each other at Turf Moor. But Luton, the last time they beat Burnley at any game was back in 2000, and that was at Turf Moor that time, and they won 2-0 back in March 2000. So 24 years was the last time Luton were victorious against Burnley. It's a good challenge by Cullen. Zodaber was just dispossessed there in the middle. Nelson picks it up. Nelson doing very well to stop Josh Brownhill trying to win it back. As Johnson tries to go down the left hand side. Well blocked off that time by Vitinho, but Luton get the throw in. Really good from Zach Nelson in the midfield, under pressure from the Burnley captain Josh Brownhill, and really smart play. Burnley take that throw then. Nelson back with Johnson. Mengi. Here's Zach Nelson. It's interesting to see what way these two sides will play. Of course, a very different idea from last season. Obviously, they were regarded as the big underdogs, obviously the new promoted sides in the Premier League last season, but they're the two of these two clubs that are looking to be at the top end of this division and are hoping for that this season, a quick return to the top flight. But very different style of football, wanting to have more possession, more attacking based, more kind of commanding approach that both of these sides will try and take, as that's a lovely through ball, and Brownhill's broken the lines and he's got a goal. Breakthrough down the left hand side, and Burnley inside a couple of minutes have the lead, and it's their captain Josh Brownhill. One ball up the middle down the left channel, and Josh Brownhill, it looked far too easy. I'll just say it again. It's Luton just trying to play it around, and Burnley get it back, and they just go back to the defence there, and it's Perez, I think, plays the through ball, and Brownhill's just made the run beyond, and he's left Zach Nelson for dead. But really good weighted ball in behind. Brownhill making the run. Very uncharacteristic of Josh Brownhill to make those runs in behind, but he did, and he found the finish with his left right through the legs of Thomas Kaminski, and giving Burnley the early lead. Perfect start for Scott Parker and his team, and it looks like their good luck charm of Kenilworth Road is continuing. 6 minutes in, and it is Luton 0, Burnley 1. And that's got the visiting fans singing early doors here. Exactly what you want to avoid as the home team conceding early on, and Luton want to respond, but Adebayo's shot from the edge of the box is easily gathered that time by James Trafford. There's no real threat on that occasion. And Josh Brownhill has the armband tonight for Burnley's, a long servant of the club. Of course, has been at Burnley for the last 4 seasons, 4 years. Joined in January of 2020 from Bristol City for £8.9 million to Burnley. Before playing for Bristol City, of course, before that. The 28-year-old, so a very experienced Burnley player. But actually, he'll be entering the final year of his contract this year, so maybe a new contract could be on the cards for Josh Brownhill. And maybe that could be part of his thinking, getting that early goal, that he could add a different dynamic to this Burnley team. Not only a really good midfielder, add a good few goals to his game. Burnley have a free kick on the right hand side here. Chance to whip the ball in with that early advantage, looking to keep the pressure on Luton. Right, ball fizzed forward. It's a very high one. It's headed across the box, and Burnley just about getting it cleaned away from them as they win it back. Perez, right footed, lifted ball into the box, looking for the target of Lyle Foster, but just overhit that one. It goes behind for a goal kick. Dara O'Shea that delivered that ball. I'm just seeing the earlier chance when Luton tried to equalise pretty quickly after Burnley scored. They won the ball in a good area. I think it was Zach Nelson that just nipped the ball in, and Adebayo just reacting a bit slow, allowing Burnley just to get that little edge, and not as potent as you would think. But of course, early in the season, it's the first game of the season. These players still building match sharpness. As the ball comes down the left hand side now for Luton, which gets a cheer, and they get the throw in. Alfie Doughty providing the width and winning Luton the throw in, high up on the left flank. flicks it into Carlton Morris's path. Will be a corner as Morris battles against Maxime Esteve there. Will be a corner to Luton. Positive response. The very experienced Carlton Morris. Not his first go around the merry-go-round. Very experienced player. 10 minutes gone. Luton 0, Burnley 1. Luton looking for a response. Referee ironing out a few problems in the box. Lots of orange shirts in there. See if one of them can get on the end of this. Alfie Doughty to deliver. Left hand side. Left footed ball to the back post. Morris got up for the header. Still there as Trafford comes flying out to make the save, and Burnley hook it up the pitch, but that wasn't convincing. Trafford did really well to adjust from that position, but first header from Carlton Morris just had it looping in the air, and Trafford just had to come and stretch for it and punch it away. But good goalkeeping, well aware of where he needs to be. Of course, there was a bit of a toss-up for Scott Parker. There was talk before the game about which goalkeeper he would pick to start tonight. Would it be James Trafford or the new signing, Vaclav Hladky? But of course went for the younger of the two, in James Trafford, who has had experience. The referee there just having a chat with one or two players as Luton get the free kick. Matt Donoghue, our referee this evening. Very vast experienced in the Championship, over 130 games. Refereed as a Championship referee. Of course, has actually refereed Luton's final Premier League game of last season, so has experience in the Premier League as well as Luton take that free kick. The first touch was heavy, but Doughty couldn't adjust there, and it's cleared away by Burnley. Morris was in there too. Wasted effort that from Luton, but they've try and respond here. Alfie Doughty's out on the right hand side after taking that set piece. Back with Mengi. Luton have had the majority of the possession so far, but Burnley have that one goal lead. That's a nice give and go between Walters and Doughty. Doughty breaking into the box, goes down, and the referee said he didn't go down in the correct way, shall we say, and went to Bayern a bit too easily there. See this again. Doughty, he's just incredible at breaking down flanks, usually on the left hand side, but this time on the right, and he's easily seen off by Maxime Esteve. It's not a foul. Really good defending, and it goes for a Burnley goal kick. Well, a great start for Scott Parker. As you can see there, both managers spouting instructions to their respective players from the sidelines. Rob Edwards giving a few tactical bits of information to his players every a few seconds. Very vocal manager. Here's Koleosho for Burnley. Back to Perez. Now Koleosho. Right across as Luton have dropped really kind of compact and narrow. Burnley just having a bit more space on the field now. Esteve to O'Shea. Down the right hand side it goes. To Vitinho. Looking to break forward. Trying to get past his man, and he got the ball in there, Vitinho, but no one in the middle to try and follow it up. And Thomas Kaminski could gather quite comfortably. Ogbene to Baptiste. Back to Mengi. Now Johnson. Lifted over the top, but no one was making that run. An easy one enough for Burnley to recover. O'Shea into the path of Odebear. Back it comes to Roberts, and now O'Shea is Luton trying to apply a press. Trafford under a bit of pressure goes long. Headed back the way it came by Lyle Foster. Burnley surrender possession this time. Baptiste. Now Chong. Back to Shandon Baptiste. Now Nelson. To Walters. Now out wide to Ogbene. Looks to deliver one with the right foot. And Adebayo was the target. It comes back into Chong, who has this shot blocked. Now Burnley try and break their way out. Perez under pressure. That's good battling from Baptiste there. As Luton try and win the ball back, but Burnley just about hold on with Cullen. Trying to go for the 1-2. Cullen breaking away, and the challenge there is applauded by the Luton manager from Zach Nelson. Good recovery run from the midfielder. Esteve to O'Shea. Looking to go down the right channel there, O'Shea. Well cut out by Alfie Doughty. Johnson. Back to Mengi. You can certainly see there is an interesting dynamic here for Luton at the back there. In a very wide back three, Ruel Walters is very wide, more as a traditional right back in a sense at times. Very, very kind of far to the right. Mengi's very central, and Johnson on the other side is also keeping the width at centre back. Usually when you see a back three, they're more narrow, more closer together, but it looks like they've really spread the pitch, allowing the likes of Ogbene and Doughty to find spaces further up the field to keep them on that attack. So surrendering that extra defender, keeping the coverage wide of the pitch, and hoping, kind of relying upon the likes of either a Baptiste and a Nelson to kind of drop in alongside to keep that kind of those doors closed in a sense for Luton defensively. As Ogbene tries to burst down the right hand side, he's got a good battle with Esteve, and Esteve will win the free kick. Ogbene wagging the finger at the officials in disagreement, but it looked like he did leave a bit on Maxime Esteve there, trying to go for a straight foot race, but Esteve's had the head start, and he also had the inside run on the man, so one to just cover over, and it's really good defending again by Maxime Esteve. It is just a slight foul as Ogbene tries to come across, and is a free kick. 22-year-old Frenchman Maxime Esteve joined Burnley for £10.3 million, a major signing for Burnley from Montpellier. Actually was on loan from February, deadline day at the start of this year. Went on loan, and that was a half a season loan before they of course have signed him on a permanent deal this summer. Came through the Montpellier youth side, did Maxime Esteve. Now at 22 years old, looks to be one of the starting centre backs for Burnley, it seems. As Carlton Morris here has won Luton a free kick high up. It's a late lunge there from Josh Brownhill, a bit unnecessary. And Carlton Morris knew what he was doing there, tried to step in field, knew the challenge was coming, and gets Luton the free kick, of which Alfie Doughty's gone over to take on the right hand side. Well, last season in the Premier League, Luton had the second most headed goals of any team. Arsenal with 17, Luton with 15. So they can threaten with their heads. Very prolific at headed goal scoring. Let's see if they could add another. Alfie Doughty to take this set piece. High up on the right hand side. Will be curling towards goal this effort. Left footed, it's low, he didn't get the height behind that. It's not the best of deliveries, and that's not the best of bits of defending at all there from Burnley, as they've given away a cheap corner. You see the free kick just comes in, it's far too low, and then the player on cover for Burnley takes the touch down, but heavy, really heavy touch, and it just goes rolling it behind for a corner. Instead of just booting it away first time, he tries to take a touch and tries to play them out rather than building, and now they have a corner to defend, Burnley. 20 minutes gone. The visitors lead by a goal to nil, but Luton looking to respond. Doughty to deliver. Back post. Lots of bodies in there, but Burnley get first connection to clear it away. As Luton recover. Chong. They lift it over the top, looking for a runner. Well covered over by Roberts. Brownhill to head forward. Chong still back there. Will take no risks, but go back to his keeper, Kaminsky. He will fly forward, but easily recovered by Burnley at the back with Esteve. Foster dropping deep, keeping the ball. As Koleosho now breaks down the left-hand side, looking to drive infield. Marked all the way, plays it across to Odebear. Back to Cullen. Out to the the left-hand side again. As Brownhill now switches it out to the right for Roberts. Around the corner, finds Vitinho. Now back to Cullen. It's Adebayo getting back there. As he won the ball, but now he's lost it again, and Burnley looking to cross as Mengi had to come up and head it clear. There's a few on the floor. Burnley keep the ball though. Vitinho. Reverse pass. Nice one into Odebear. Right on high on that right hand side. Back to Roberts. Roberts with the delivery. Deflected. Will be a throw in to Burnley. Deflected quite a bit off Ogbene there and took one in the chest and the torso, it looked like. Chidozie Ogbene. See it again. Roberts tries to whip one in and it comes right off the kind of the right side of Chidozie Ogbene there. Got cleanly whacked with it. He's struggling there, so just a bit winded, clearly. But again, Burnley have been really sharp with their passing, really quick, really crisp. 1-2 touch, not looking to wait around with it. Looking to keep constant pressure on their opponents, not allowing them time and space on the ball. And themselves trying to move it quickly so they can't press them off it. Throw in to Burnley on the right hand side. Halfway through the first half, Luton 0, Burnley 1. Josh Brownhill's goal has them ahead. As Connor Roberts gets ready to take this throw in on the right hand side. It's a short throw to Odebear, back to Roberts. Right, Odebear again. O'Shea. Cullen. Again, moving it quickly. Cullen. Esteve. Right to Perez. He's just got the ball nipped away from him, and Doughty's trying to break with pace down the right hand side. He's got 3 Burnley players around him, and they did more than enough. Didn't need to touch the ball. Just put Doughty off, and he run out of room. There was no one really going with Alfie Doughty. He was on his own in that run. Burnley had surrounded him incredibly fast. 3 players around him in a matter of seconds, and really good covering and defending from Burnley from that position. You see a lot of teams being caught out with that when they're so high up the pitch and in the opposition's half, looking to keep the pressure on. Sometimes when they do get a quick break, they can be vulnerable, but really good covering and defending by Burnley to get bodies back and surround the danger and eliminate that danger in a sense. Here's Perez. Again, Doughty quick on him, but Perez gets the ball away at equal pace, and Koleosho with really good touches and eventually taken out there by Shannon Baptiste, and a free kick there. See it again. Actually, it's not going to be a free kick, I think, because yeah, it's not going to be a free kick to Koleosho because he was offside. Just seeing the replay, that was confused as to why the referee didn't point one way, but just seeing the replay of it, he was in an offside position there, Koleosho, when he did pick up the ball. So Luton got the free kick, and now they have another. And it's Cullen a bit late there on Taith Chong. Keeps Luton up the field. Chong took a nice touch just away from Josh Cullen. He just comes through the back of him. I mean, again, you're not going to get away with something like that. And a free kick goes the way of the home side. We've seen some really nice set-piece goals this weekend. Let's see if we can see another. 25 minutes gone. Alfie Doughty over this one again, as expected. High line from Burnley. Doughty round the corner to Morris, who tried to kind of cushion the ball and ended up blasting it behind for a goal kick. He might have been offside anyway. He was offside anyway. Carlton Morris. Yeah, but he tried to cushion the ball with kind of his lower calf and kind of balloons off his leg and behind for a goal kick. Not the best of touches, but nonetheless he was offside anyway. It wouldn't have mattered. And the free kick given for Burnley here inside their own box. Trafford to take. Goes a right distance, right up the middle. First header won by Mengi, second by Cullen. Audebert tries to bring it down as Luton nick it away. Morris comes down the right hand side now, does Chidozie Ogbene. Got bodies around him, very isolated on that flank. Back it comes to Walters. Baptiste just about gets it across as Zach Nelson keeps it. Mengi. Right to the right hand side again for Ruel Walters. Nice give and go between Ogbene and Morris, and Ogbene's cross is palmed down by James Trafford, but I think that might have gone out of play. And the corner has been given. I was wondering why they cheered there, because the ball had gone out of play there. We tried to rescue it, Trafford, but a very eagle-eyed assistant on that side wasn't going to miss that one. Corner for Luton then. Got quite a number of set pieces so far. Not really been massively threatening from any of them. Certainly getting quite a lot of them. Alfie Doughty to deliver again. Left footed across the goal, palmed away by Trafford. Too close to the Burnley keeper, but Ogbene picks it back up. He sees the last man for Luton, sorry. As it comes down the left flank, Baptiste. He will lift one in with the right foot, and that has to be headed clear. As it does. Walters. Luton certainly growing in their dominance. Possession is 50-50, but Luton just having that little bit of extra play is... I mean, I don't want to call commentators cursed, but I did. Ted and Mengi, as I said, Luton were playing better, has just absolutely telegraphed one right out of play for a goal, for a throw-in to Burnley. Burnley have actually had only one shot in the game so far, and that was their goal. Luton have had 2 shots, so not quite a table tennis match as a sense in terms of shots, and it's been more swapping of possession more than anything else, and quite a lot of set pieces, but two sides just getting to grips with one another at this point. That Burnley throw-in must have come to nothing, because we've come back from a replay and Luton are back in possession again. It's another problem for Burnley at times so far in this game. They've not been able to hold possession for long enough in moments. When they do get it, they're trying to go very direct, very quick in moments, and at times just wasting the possession. That's a nice darted ball by Doughty, and Chong saw the space open up, and you can't really blame him for taking the shot, but the effort was incredibly woeful, to say the very least, because it went flying, caught the wind and went flying out literally at the corner flag. So I'm guessing, yeah, it's gone for a goal kick, so it's gone to the right hand side of the corner flag. So goal kick for Burnley. Well, we do have more football to come for you. Midweek action. Not in the Championship. There are Championship sides involved in midweek. so far as we watch Sheffield United take on Wrexham tomorrow in the first round of the EFL Cup, the Carabao Cup, or League Cup, whatever you want to call it. Tomorrow 7:45, kick-off at 8 o'clock, but we'll have all the scores from around the grounds from the first round tomorrow. And then we have another offering for you on Wednesday night of round 1 action from the Carabao Cup. As the referees made a decision that's not quite popular with the crowd inside this stadium, and the referee is having a chat with Elijah Adebayo, who has been penalised for a holding on Dara O'Shea a bit earlier, but O'Shea pulled him back as well, so there's kind of a tug of shirts between the two players. He absolutely, my goodness me, he grappled him right to the floor there, Adebayo. Not someone I would want to mess with, Dara O'Shea either. Both grappling each other's shirts, and the Luton man is the one penalised, which, as you can expect, is not a popular decision inside Kenilworth Road. As the ball comes out to Koleosho on the left, looks to chop infield, really good feet, but his pass closed down quickly as Morris just about gets the ball off. He felt he was held, as look, Benny's held on to here by Perez, and he will get the free kick now. A lot of holding from Burnley, grabbing his shirts, and Morris making the same claim to the referee as well, that he was being held, but free kick does go the way of Luton. Long ball forward from Luton there. Comes to nothing as it comes all the way back to Royal Walters, who has to pass that one back to Kaminski. Johnson over the top. Again, no runner beyond for Luton there. And easily recovered at the back there by O'Shea. O'Shea finds a nice ball into a gap over the Luton midfield. Odebear picked up that space, finds Perez. Brownhill to Cullen. Roberts. Esteve. Odebear to Perez. Down the line. And to find Koleosho, back to Lucas Perez. Cullen. Nice play by Burnley as Foster comes a bit deeper to keep the possession. And now Roberts breaks it down the right hand side. Vitinho on the run. His body's flying into the box. Brownhill on the cut back, and the first touch well blocked out there. As now Shandon Baptiste looks for a pass forward. Ultimately just about will give the free kick away there. Just overstretched at Shandon Baptiste and gives away the free kick to Lyle Foster. To say it again, it's a really nice move from Burnley down the right hand side, and they get the ball into the box. Vitinho just cuts it back to Josh Brownhill on the edge of the box. He takes a first touch but takes it right into the path of Shannon Baptiste, who blocks it, and then he carries the ball forward, has no real kind of options in front of him, has to turn back, takes the heavy touch and ends up sliding in to commit the challenge on Lyle Foster, which then puts Luton back under pressure and having a set piece to defend. Seems to be in transition. Luton are struggling at the moment. We've seen that a bit earlier on when Doughty nicked the ball back and he charged away. There was just no option, no one running with him. In transition, Luton just not getting bodies up the field quick enough to try and carry them away from their own defensive third. And Burnley not looking threatened by it. Free kick taken by Burnley into the box. It comes, and again there was a claim of a foul in there. There was an offside flag up anyway against Burnley. And the first header was off a Luton player, and then just say it again, we're actually seeing the goal from earlier on, but the free kick just whipped into the box, and Burnley must have been in one of the Burnley players in an offside position. But just saying, the Brownhill goal again, really nicely taken from inside the box. Has to be precise, otherwise Kaminski's making that save right through his legs. But again, I'm not going to be too kind of harsh on the midfielder, Zach Nelson there, the youngster, but that was his runner, and Josh Brownhill, the experienced man, just got the better of him, and broke past him and broke into that space, and something to learn from Zach Nelson. Most certainly, of course, Rob Edwards was asked about the youth players before the game and about kind of how he was excited for those youth players at the start, and he said it was a credit to the Luton Academy and that they got those players, but he also said that he's not expecting them to be the best in the world in their first kind of big experience of playing in the first team, but also he's expecting mistakes. He's expecting kind of little issues that he wants them to iron out, to fix, to work out early in the season so they can grow and build and become better players. And that, as I mentioned there, that goal that Luton did concede is easily covered over by the fact that a midfielder just tracking that runner and closing it down. But again, as I said, it's something that the young Zach Nelson will certainly learn from in the future. Of course, a throw in for Burnley here down the left-hand side. I have to say, it's been one of those games since that goal where Luton have tried to respond, but with no real great luck. At this minute in time, they've had one shot on target so far this evening, same as Burnley. And Burnley really haven't threatened to add to their lead. It's kind of in a bit of limbo at the moment. This game where neither side can really get to grips with it, kind of get to grips with each other. And I'm sure we'll see kind of, it's a good battle. Do very well matched sides in Luton and Burnley. We've been talking about the opt-out predictions all weekend about what positions each club is expected to finish in, as Burnley break down in behind again, and another breakaway and another goal. Pretty simple again from Burnley, but the same outcome. Another goal as they double their lead, and this time it's Wilson Odobert who doubles Burnley's lead. And again, I thank the feed that we have here, because it certainly didn't show me. Just got the last few seconds of it. We see it again. Again, it's one ball out to the right hand side. It's over the top. Again, runners in between the lines. I said about how Luton were so wide, such gaps between their centre-backs, and they're relying upon their midfielders to drop a bit deeper to cover over those spaces. Again, it's one of those moves in between the centre-backs. The late runner, Wilson Odobert, just breaks between the two, and he just taps it home past Kaminski. Really nice finish. And again, it's really simple, really avoidable, but it's really effective. And at the moment, it is Burnley that are getting the better of it. Luton 0, Burnley 2. Something that Rob Edwards will have to really desperately look at half-time, because they have been a bit blunt in the attacking areas so far, Luton. They've not packed a punch so far, really. Whereas Burnley most certainly have. They've not dominated the game, they've not completely overrun Luton, but when they've had their chances, they've been clinical, and they've taken them few and far between. But also it's about being clinical in those moments, and they certainly have been. Two very nice finishes from Josh Brownhill and Wilson Odobert to deny them, or to get them a 2-goal lead, and really give Luton a mountain to climb in a sense. Something that Rob Edwards is conversing about on the bench at this moment in time. But a pretty perfect first half for Burnley, to be honest. And I'm sure they'll say they've got more to come. There's Cullen there, committing another foul. Another free kick goes Luton's way, but again, in a sense, I feel that Burnley have actually that's also worked in their favour, breaking up the game and giving away set pieces. Although Luton are so threatening from set pieces, it looks like Burnley are really good at defending them so far from what we've seen. But at the same time, it's not allowing Luton to get that rhythm, to get that momentum in the game, to keep their attacking press going. Whereas from Burnley, what we've seen is when they do get the ball, they want to move it around, they want to keep it moving, want to be quick with it, don't want to dilly-dally on the ball or slow the game down. They want to keep it quick and want to catch Luton kind of napping in a sense, slow their game down so that they're not up to speed with them in a sense, so if that makes any sense. Here's Morris. Got bodies coming forward with him. Carlton Morris, he's been clung onto there by Luca Koleosho, and he gets the free kick around the edge of the box. There's a bit of afters in the aftermath of that one. Morris and Koleosho there battling in a sense. The referee just has a chat with the Burnley winger. Another set piece for Luton. As I mean, 11th free kick of the game. Yeah, he just drags him down. Yeah. It's a clear foul by Koleosho. Maybe lucky to get away without a yellow card there, but no booking. Just a free kick for Luton. And I think it's got to a point where I think they need to start threatening. And Burnley need to start feeling their pressure. Because at the moment, Burnley at the back have probably had it pretty easy. So far, here's Alfie Doughty, who could eye up the direct free kick, but he might whip this one in. Let's see what he does. Doughty to take, left footed. He tried to go direct and hit it at the two-man wall right in front of him. Another disappointing set piece. And one that, of course, Burnley were ready to defend whichever way Alfie Doughty went. He decided to try and score himself and ended up hitting the two-man wall that Burnley had in place. 3 minutes of the first half to go. Luton 0, Burnley 2. Certainly not the perfect homecoming to the new season that Luton were expecting or hoping for so far, but it's more reflective of recent meetings at this stadium. As I mentioned, Burnley have won the last 4 visits to Kenilworth Road, and they're hoping to make it 5 in a row. And at the moment, with the 2-goal lead, doesn't look like it's a slim chance, as James Trafford is going to be booked here for time wasting, which gets a cheer from the crowd inside the stadium. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the first goalkeeper to be booked this season in the opening weekend. So James Trafford there. Yellow card. As Burnley get the ball forward again, they're in attacking areas again, and Vitinho just ball stolen away from him by Ted and Mingy. Morris dispossessed. Again, went over a bit easily there, did Carlton Morris. Esteve. Back to O'Shea, and now Trafford. Under pressure, goes long again. As Luton try and cover that space. That's well covered over by Walters, and Mengi stepped across to clear the ball away. Again, no white ball, and Morris tried to stretch for that one, and ultimately gives away the free kick. Carlton Morris. It was Josh Cullen that was flying to get the ball, ends up on the floor. See it again. Headed back into the mix, and Morris and Cullen were both stretching for it, but Cullen probably had the better chance at it. Just a high boot there from Carlton Morris, I believe, has got him that foul against him. I would say very happy Scott Parker at the moment on the sidelines, although his face doesn't show it, but I would say from what he's seen, he would be relaying that message to his players at half-time about how well they've played in this first half in that sense. With their 2 goals, they can probably play better. But I do think they've looked sharper, they've looked more in control, they've at times just looked the better team. Luton have had probably the better spells of possession, but again, not really threatening with it. Here's Vitinho. Cuts it back to Cullen. Tried to find Koleosho, but on his heels there as Perez tries to battle back, and again Burnley win it back through Lyle Foster. Tried to chip it into the box, but again met by a few Luton players to clear that one away. 2 added minutes at the end of the first half. Again, just that desire to win the ball back from Burnley that we've seen it multiple times in this half as well. It just shows that the desire, the intent, the kind of hunger to have the ball, to kind of win the ball. There's that ball into that little channel again. Odebear, well covered over this time by Joe Johnson, who tracked him all the way across. Will be a corner. Or a goal kick, maybe. Just have to say it again. Yeah, goal kick. Morris trying to spin away. Brownhill has him covered, but Morris goes down, wanted the free kick, but the referee said there was no foul as Burnley come away with the ball. Koleosho on the spin. Nice first touch, but she maybe showed a bit too much to Ruel Walters there, who got covered, but put it out for the throw into Burnley. Throw in taken short. Back to Cullen. Now O'Shea. Roberts to Josh Cullen, who sees his reverse pass come off Shannon Baptiste and out for a Burnley throw. As there's the half-time whistle. 2 minutes and the first 45 up. And at the moment, it is most certainly Burnley who are on top on the scoreline and on the basis of play. Luton have work to do. I'm sure Rob Edwards will have a lot to assess at half-time and to fix with his players. But Scott Parker, the new man in charge of Burnley, is having a perfect start to his managerial career at the club. Half-time at Kenilworth Road. It is Luton 0, Burnley 2. Welcome back to Championship Live at half-time between Luton and Burnley, and it is the visitors to Kenilworth Road who, on the last 4 occasions, have certainly had it all their own way, and they have more or less had it all their own way in the first half. Luton 0, Burnley 2 at the break, and deservedly so probably in that sense for Burnley that they lead at the break. But at the same time, it's not that they have completely dominated or overrun Luton in a sense in that first half. It's been a pretty even first half in terms of the play, in terms of the game, and the way that it kind of has flowed in that first half. It's been ebbing and flowing right the way through. Both sides have had their spells of possession, both sides have had their chances, but just the clinical nature of Burnley has them 2-0 up. Josh Brownhill and Wilson Odobert, nice runs beyond trackers, just not defending it well enough. Luton defensively in those occasions could have done better on both occasions, and I'm sure Rob Edwards will be talking to his players about that at half time. But I'm sure Scott Parker will be absolutely delighted. Of course, a trip away to Luton, one of the big rivals, the early season rivals for possible promotion this season. Two sides that will be hoping to push for that this campaign. With the quality they have and being two sides that were relegated from the Premier League, it's not exclusively always the case that the sides relegated will always be back up battling again. But with the quality of that these two squads possess, they will be at the upper end of the Championship table this season, and that's where they want to compete. But with that first half, you can see it was very finely balanced at times. Luton, I think, held the ball better at times. I think they were the better side in terms of with their spells of possession. They were holding the ball up nicer, they were passing it around nicer, but also at that same time, when Luton were on the ball, Burnley were committing fouls, giving away free kicks, just giving away a lot of set pieces, and that kind of disrupted the momentum of Luton in that first half. For quite a majority of it, they weren't able to kind of keep it for longer spells or to really kind of keep pressure on Burnley's defence for very long at all. Every time they tried to play a ball in behind, there was no one making runs. It was kind of just a kind of lack of rhythm from Luton in that first half, because they have battled and they have kind of competed definitely in that first half. It's not that the scoreline could lead you to believe that Burnley have been on top, they've been the better side and they've absolutely dominated Luton. It's not the case. It's the fact that they've had two really good opportunities that they've taken, and Luton have had those little breakups in possession, just haven't been able to kind of get their rhythm going in that first half. And I'm sure this will be what will be said by Rob Edwards at half time. But we analyse the two goals, and I mean, I'm just seeing the first goal again. It's really beautifully weighted ball by Lucas Perez. He just spots the run of Josh Brownhill and he gets past his marker, and Zach Nelson just breaks into that left channel. Brownhill sees the little bit of space and they just open those gaps. I talked about how in that first half Luton wanted to go wide with their centre backs and wanted to have that stretched back three to try and get the wing backs in the likes of Ogbene and Doughty higher up the field. And we see it again in this moment. Ogbene tries to go and mark Perez to push up the press. That brings across Walters. It leaves that little bit, that gap between Mengi and Walters, really open space. And as I said, what they relied upon Luton in that first half to cover those spaces was there's two centre midfielders, Zach Nelson and Shannon Baptiste, dropping into those little gaps in between the defenders to kind of cover off midfield runners into those spaces to try and threaten. They didn't on that occasion. As I said, Zach Nelson will learn from that. He let his man go past him in that system, and he got the better of him. He still had to do a lot of hard work, Josh Brownhill. Really nice finish, got past Kaminski, went through his legs. But again, it's a simple tactical situation where if Nelson covers his man better, then the situation doesn't progress in that way. But at the same point, you're taking a risk in that sense. You're playing a young player in midfield that's inexperienced, probably in that system. Not only in that system, but in a high pressured game situation against a really experienced player, the Burnley captain, no less, and you push him into covering a lot of space. It is a high risk, high reward sense of the fact it hasn't worked so far, clearly, because they've been caught out twice. The second goal, similar position, similar occasion on the opposite side. Connor Roberts this time gets a nice ball. It actually goes round the defence. So it actually goes round Joe Johnson and Ted Mengi. That little space on that side of the back three where it goes round the defenders, and there's that gap opens up again. The late run from Wilson Odobert in behind, gets past his man, gets into the box, and a really nice finish. But again, the multiple times that I'd mentioned it in that first half, what Luton were trying to do, as I said, that wide back three, Johnson the left centre back, wide on that left flank, pushing out towards the sideline, and Ruel Walters the opposite side, which allows the wing backs to push forward and Ogbene and Doughty to push up the field, and it leaves Mengi kind of isolated in the middle, lots of space either side of him, and again, the two Burnley goals come from one on the right hand side of Mengi between him and Ruel Walters, and the other side between Ted Mengi and Joe Johnson. And those spaces can be closed down, they can play a more narrow back three, but then it does hamper the likes of Doughty and Ogbene trying to get forward. So maybe a slight tweak needed there from a Luton point of view. But also, at the same time, when they have got on the ball and when they have got the ball wide, Ogbene and Doughty have probably been their best threatening players, but at the same time they haven't got the middle players involved enough. We haven't seen much of Adebayo or Chong. We've seen more of Colton Morris trying to win battles, win challenges, but we haven't really seen much of him charging at the defence or what we usually see him runners in behind. We haven't really seen very much of that from Luton as a point of view. But from a Burnley point of view, they witnessed the early problems. I mean, maybe the first one, I don't think maybe they've kind of pinpointed that as an idea from Luton, maybe. Who knows? If they've looked at that and thought, tactically, they're going to have a wide back three, let's try and find those inside channels. And it looks like maybe they've mentioned it, or the players just could have realised it in-game and spotted those were gaps that they tried to exploit, and they did so very, very well with those two goals. But from a Burnley point of view, they will feel they could probably play better in the second half. They've probably feel that, I wouldn't say they're lucky to be ahead, because they've pinpointed a certain kind of fragility in Luton, and they've kind of targeted that and got the benefit of it. But in terms of probably the way they want to play, Scott Parker dominating more possession and controlling the game a bit more, I think there is improvements to come from Burnley in the second half, and I'm sure Scott Parker will be looking for that in the second half as well. Right, so at half-time it is Luton 0, Burnley 2. Let's have a look at the rest of the weekend, because we've had a goals-filled opening weekend of the Championship. Not a 0-0 in sight. A couple came close, and we had two games with just one goal in the end. But let's have a look at the full list. Blackburn got us underway on Friday night as they beat Derby County by 4-2. Newly promoted Derby back in the second division, the second tier of English football under Paul Warren, and were beaten convincingly by 4-2. At one point it was 1-1 in the game, and Blackburn were struggling. Derby were actually the team on top when they were 1-1. They quickly conceded a second, and it was game over from that point. Blackburn, under John Eustace, hadn't had a home win under the current manager John Eustace until that game on Friday night. Also on Friday night, we saw Preston beaten at home at Deepdale by Sheffield United by 2-0. Two big mistakes in the game saw them concede two very easily avoidable goals. Arblaster and Hammer, the two goal scorers for Sheffield United, which has seen the departure of Ryan Lowe, the Preston manager, over the weekend by mutual consent, of course, so both parties wanting to part ways. But that is very, very unusual, that the first game of the season you're beaten and your manager is gone within 48 hours of that defeat. But that has happened on that occasion, and Preston looking for a new manager. I didn't think I'd be saying this early in the season. Cardiff got us underway on the Saturday afternoon. 8 games on Saturday lunchtime. Cardiff were the first team to lose on Saturday afternoon. They were beaten by Sunderland. Two sides who are actually pipped to be in a relegation battle this season, and Sunderland getting the early 3 points to carry them up the table rather than looking down the table. They're 2-0 finished 2-0. Hull rescued a point at home against Bristol City. They were 1-0 down going late into the game, but a late equalising penalty saw them on terms, and Hull not losing their bite, as they say. The Tigers. Leeds had to come from behind twice at lunchtime on Saturday, as they came from 2-1 down and 3-2 down late in added time. Brendan Aronson with the late equaliser for Leeds to secure a point. They could have won it as well. Aronson just putting narrowly wide. That would have won the game for Leeds, but ultimately 3-3. A pretty fair result, I would say, for newly promoted Portsmouth, another one of those big newly promoted sides. performing really well this weekend. Middlesbrough got their season off to a winning start at home, a 1-0 win at home to Swansea. Watford won away at Millwall. Millwall got back to 2-2 in that one before Watford scored the late winner. Oxford causing the shock of the weekend, winning 2-0 at home against Norwich. QPR beaten 3-1 at home by West Brom. A hat-trick from Josh Maja, scoring all 3 goals for West Brom. And Stoke, a 1-0 victory against Coventry. Yesterday we saw a complete demolition of Wayne Rooney's Plymouth in his first game in charge of the club. At way to Sheffield Wednesday, and Hillsborough was rocking yesterday under the sunshine of a lazy Sunday afternoon, but it was certainly not lazy from Danny Rolls' Sheffield Wednesday, who won by 4-0. Right, the second half between Luton and Burnley is on the way next. Do stay with us. Welcome back to Championship Live. Don't forget, more football to come for you from the EFL this midweek as the Carabao Cup gets underway officially tomorrow night as we watch first round action, as we watch Sheffield United take on Wrexham. Sheffield United got their Championship campaign off to a win, and Wrexham got their League One campaign off to a win. Back-to-back promotions for Wrexham, and they're looking to get their Cup campaign off to a winning start as they face Sheffield United tomorrow. Bramall Lane kick-off at 8 o'clock, but we'll be live from 7:45 as all the games get ready to get underway. Quite a number of games for you tomorrow, and you'll not want to miss the action. Right, so we'll have that tomorrow, as well as on Wednesday night as well. Leeds and Middlesbrough is our game. Elland Road is our venue. So some exciting games to look forward to in the Carabao Cup. But back to the Championship action. And the first weekend of the Championship is about to come to an end. And it is the 2 sides that were relegated from the Premier League last season. 2 of the 3 sides were relegated from the Premier League last season, Luton and Burnley, who are facing off at the moment. And it is Burnley who lead by 2-0 at the break. And are not looking backwards anyway into this second half. But Luton have work to do and somewhat of a mountain to climb. Well, I wouldn't say a mountain, more of a hill. But they do have a lot of work to do in the second half. They're going to rescue anything out of their first home game of the season as they find themselves 2-0 down at the break. But as I said, they were blunt in that first half, and they'll need to get their attackers on the ball. Here's one of them, Adebayo in the box. Has to come wide to Ogbene. That's a lovely turn by Nelson as he has the shot blocked. That was a good start for Luton there. Good first attack of the half. To be honest, the crowd certainly haven't got their voices so far tonight. That's a lovely ball through the lines. Chong making that run this time. At the byline, long cross. Adebayo couldn't reach. Ogbene will bring it down. Has to come back wide. Walters to deliver into the box, and the threat was Adebayo off the line and into the hands of Trafford. That was really good defending by Burnley there, but again, an emphatic start to the second half for Luton. Adebayo getting himself into the mix, testing the goalkeeper. Trafford a bit wary on the first one. Adebayo got a connection to it, and just as it looked to be dropping into the net, headed off the line by Burnley, and then back into the hands of their keeper. But great start to the second half for the home side. Instantly getting their attackers on the ball. Here's Ogbene, not looking to wait around. Baptiste, lovely switch ball. Lovely attempt at a switch ball. Couldn't find his target in Alfie Doughty, but he will get the slight deflection that will get him the throw in. That ball whipped in, and we've seen that last season for Luton. That was their identity, getting the ball to your centre forwards. They've got height, they've got quality, they've got physicality in the box. Got absolutely none of that in the first half. But instantly in the second half, they're back to what we've saw from them last season. Lovely touch there by Johnson. Breaks forward, finds Carlton Morris in the box. His body's in here for Luton. Morris wanted to go himself, had the shot blocked. But again, much more intent from the home side. Doughty. Well, closed down. Battling back there was Chong. And Doughty does well to keep the ball. Baptiste, under pressure, has to go back to Ruel Walters. He in turn goes back to Kaminski. And not targeting the long ball this time. Baptiste to Walters. A lot more zip about the passes from Luton. Said that we'd seen that a lot from Burnley in the early moments in the first half, but seeing it early in the second half from the home side. Here's Ogbene. As Morris drops a bit deeper. Gets onto the ball. Back it goes to Zach Nelson. Now Johnson. Out to Doughty on the left. Plays it first time in, failed to T. Chong. He tried to carry it into the box, but Roberts had it covered and closed down. Again, as Burnley try and clear it away, looks like Walters has this one covered, and he does. As he passes back to Kaminski, under pressure. Again, better ball control from Luton. And that's really good from Ruel Walters. Constantly under pressure from Lyle Foster, and does really, really well to break away from him. And getting a reaction from the home crowd, which, as I said, were pretty subdued in that first half. It sounded like they'd lost their voice, but kind of reflected their side's performance in that first half. It was subdued. It wasn't the Luton that we'd seen, the explosive, expansive, kind of high-intensity Luton that we'd seen in the Premier League last season, and even the season previous in the Championship. That first half was a bit off the boil, but certainly come out fighting in the second half so far. They've had the majority of the possession in the second period, with a lot more bite, not just a bark. A bite to go along with it, it seems. Ogbene. Walters. To Nelson, sorry. Now Walters again. Nelson. Baptiste. Keeping Burnley penned in at the moment, Luton. Chong just tries to get on the end of that one and just overstretches for it. Couldn't keep the ball, but Burnley again well closed down, although that's a really good burst away from Odebear. Kolioshu, sorry, and now Odebear well charged down. Back it comes though to Vitinho, who whips one in, but wasn't going to cause a threat at all there. As there's going to be a yellow card coming out here from the referee after that long spell of action. And see it again. Yeah, Kolioshu just battling for the ball, and he breaks away. And he does really, really well to hold off the challenge. And he breaks forward, and then Odebear. I'm not sure who got the yellow card. And we'll get the confirmation of that in a second for you, as Burnley seem to be re-energised all of a sudden. As Vitinho pulled back there, and he's completely stopped dead on the ball before the whistle went. And the free kick has gone the way of Burnley. And it was Zach Nelson that got that yellow card, by the way. Must have been for his tussle with Luka Koliosho. Certainly not letting his man away from him this time, Zach Nelson, and maybe in doing so just gets that yellow card. So free kick here for Burnley, right hand side. Lucas Perez and Josh Brownhill over it. With Luton with that positive start to the second half, it's Burnley's chance to try and whip a ball in to the box. Brownhill leaves it. Perez will lift it with the left boot, and Ogbene had it covered at the front post. Puts it behind for the corner. I mean, it was a crowd of orange shirts. I don't think it was going to cause a threat. I think the keeper could have grasped that one, but Ogbene wasn't taking no risks. Corner incoming for Burnley. Lucas Perez to take. Those Burnley fans behind that area of the goal. Perez left-footed delivery. Kaminski palms away. Not fully cleared as Odeberg gets it back into the mix. And Luton can't clear their lines. What a save by Kaminski. Incredibly reactionary that. But a wonderful save. Burnley certainly threatening once more. Again, throwing challenges in it here, there and everywhere. And that time it was Shandon Baptiste. We just see this save from Kaminski again. It's absolutely incredible. The corner comes in. Kaminski palms it away. And then Odeberg gets it back into the middle. Morris tries to clear. And then O'Shea has a blasted effort inside the box. And I'm not sure if Kaminski's unsighted. He sees it the very last second. And just throws a strong right hand at it. Starfish action there from Thomas Kaminski. Incredible save. Would have been a wonderful effort. Would have been a great goal from Dara O'Shea, but incredibly denied by the Luton keeper. 31-year-old Belgian international was away at the Euros with Belgium. Thomas Kaminski in the summer. Free kick for Burnley then. Perez and Brownhill again. Brownhill to chip it into the box. O'Shea to flick it back in, and the header is again flicked on but cleared away. As Luton try and clear their lines, but Morris does get the goal kick out of it. And there's a man on the floor here. Vitinho it was. Brownhill just chips it across. O'Shea was maybe just onside. Mengi flicked across. Another header comes in, this time from Odeberg. And there was I think Lyle Foster was in the middle. Just see it again, flicked on. And no, it was Vitinho at the back post. It comes off the post and cleared away. That's very, very close for Burnley once again. Very energised start to the second half as Luton try and give as good as they've got so far. Ogbene. Across from Baptiste. Deep to the back post. Doughty tapping to Heath Chong. Gets one back for Luton. Just after Burnley came incredibly close to making it 3. That's what they say. And Tahith Chong gets one back for Luton. And they're starting to climb that mountain. They've come out much more energetic in the second half, Luton. And probably deservedly have that goal. They've had to come under a bit of pressure from Burnley the last few minutes, but they come right up the other end. Lovely ball by Baptiste to the back post, and Doughty just heads it, cushioned across the goal, and arriving in the 6-yard box. A poacher's finish from Tahith Chong to get Luton on the score sheet and to get them back in this game. Scored some huge goals for Luton recently. Last season, even in the Premier League. Scored a wonderful one against Liverpool last season. I do remember. Almost got the victory for Luton here against Liverpool on that occasion. And they did concede a very, very late headed goal. Did Luton, and the Doughty trying to run in behind again. Covered out by James Trafford. A very competitive game, this. We've seen a more competitive scoreline, certainly. As Trafford muddles up his kick a bit there. Joe Johnson gets a bit overzealous in the middle, but brought down by Nelson. Really good first touch by Nelson. Now by Mengi, sorry. Now Nelson just about gets past his man. Now finds Doughty. Well, that goal will certainly change the momentum of the game and gets the crowd going, which is even more important, which will egg Luton on to try and get that equaliser as quick as possible. Ball over the top at Adebayo. The target just couldn't bring it under his control there, but he will get the throw in as he keeps the pressure on. gets another round of applause from the Kenny crowd. The throw-in on this left-hand side. Doughty to take, high up on the left flank. Not often you see a referee telling the player go further up the field, but closer to the corner flag. Into the box it comes. Brought down by Morris. Laid off to Nelson, whose shot is comfortably taken in by James Trafford, but I think it took a slight touch on the way through. It was from Josh Cullen. It took the pure pace off it. And a simple enough catch for Trafford. Again, a lot better of a threat from Luton. They had 4 shots in total in the whole of the first half. They've already had 4 shots in the second half. And they've played just 12.5 minutes of this second period. So a lot more threatening in this second period than they were in the whole of the first. And one thing they didn't have in the first half was a goal, which they do have now, as Baptiste does well to challenge for the ball back there. Walters across to Mengi. At the moment, it does look like they're continuing with that wide back three at the moment. Luton, and Walters carried the ball forward, went on a tumble, wanted a free kick, but the referee said it was a fair challenge. As Burnley once again have possession. Pires down the left hand side. Kolayosho trying to return the ball to Pires, and that is well marshalled out by Ruel Walters. Strong defending. Goal kick to Luton. And this is a big change as well. They had 4 touches in Burnley's box in the first half, Luton. In the second half already, they have 3 times that, 12 touches in much less time. They're incredibly much more threatening. As Lucas Pires has just been booked here for a moment. I'm guessing it looked like he kicked the ball away when that goal kick was given, so I'm guessing that's what it's for, but he has been given a yellow card, Lucas Pires, by the referee, Matt Donoghue. Here's Audibert. Lots of bodies round him in that one. A definitive challenge by Tahith Chong, and that gets him a yellow card with that one. Lots of yellow cards coming out from this referee this evening. Yeah, it's just that it's a lazy challenge by Tahith Chong. He knows he's not getting anywhere near the ball. He drags Audibert down while trying to challenge, sliding in, and it's a really lazy challenge from the Luton man, the Luton goal scorer at the moment. And that gets him in the book. The 4th player this evening to be booked. 2 for each team. Pires leaves the free kick. Brownhill to take, but that one too close to Kaminski, who gathered pretty comfortably in the box there. And now they're looking to get on the front foot once again. Luton has that ball played a bit early by Ogbeni. Will get the throw in. Got a bit lucky, and that didn't end up in a more dangerous position from Ogbeni there. Kaminski to Ted Mengi. Back to Thomas Kaminski. And now Baptiste. Mengi once more. As Kaminski goes long out to the right flank, nicely taken down as Morris, who's also taken down in the process, and Josh Cullen on his knees begging to the referee that it wasn't a foul, but the referee having none of it, and he's got the card out as well, of which Josh Cullen will get. It looks like he hasn't brandished it to him just yet. Josh Cullen instantly in shock at that decision being given against him. And it's a yellow card. Oh, that was have to see that. It's just it's just incredible acting. I mean, it's clearly a foul, and I think the referee was pointing to a few other challenges that Josh Cullen made this evening as to why he got the yellow card. So it's more accumulation rather than this single challenge on its own. But the acting from Josh Cullen, I mean, he should get an Oscar for that. Right to his knees, begging the referee instantly that it wasn't yellow. But has to deal with it. Yellow it is, and I think correctly so. Free kick for Luton then. One for Alfie Doughty to deliver. He looks on to try and find a target. His body's in the box. 6 in orange colours. Doughty's delivery, left-footed. Did find a target, and Adebayo, but couldn't get it anywhere near goal. As Chong brings it back down on the right-hand side. Charged all the way by Koleosho, but Chong, deep cut back from the byline. Kicked away by Brownhill. Throw in to Luton. Again, what I mentioned at half-time is Luton really struggled to keep pressure on Burnley's defence on a consistent basis in that first half. Really struggled to keep them penned in, and they've certainly done that a lot better in the second half. It's lovely from McBenney. The low cross into the box as Burnley clear it away. McBenney again, out to the right-hand side. Walters with a cross, blocked. Headed away that time by Lucas Perez. Another throw-in coming Luton's way, but a much more impressive second half performance as Morris tries to carry that one in and just bounces off his leg again. Goal kick. Burnley again taking their time from this set piece, this goal kick. Remember, James Trafford is on a yellow card. They've actually stopped it because Koleosho's gone down, so that's not a good sign. And he will get a bit of treatment here. Look at Koleosho. Koleosho, who 19-year-old Italian, the Italian, joined Burnley in July of last year, last window before their Premier League campaign, for £2.6 million from Espanyol. The Espanyol B team, actually, not the A team, the B team in the Spanish side. He actually came through the Espanyol youth side. Koleosho, he actually had the vast majority of the last 12 months injured. He's actually not long back from an injury. Koleosho got injured in early December of last year in a Premier League game away at Wolves. Came off in the first half with an injury in that one, and this is his first competitive game since. He, of course, was involved in a friendly 8 days ago for Burnley away at Cadiz, but hasn't had the best time of it injuries-wise, Koleosho. And he's going to be coming off here this evening, which is certainly not what you want to see. He's played 65 minutes after coming after that long injury of 7 months. 7-8 months out. And we wish him all the very best. Hope it's not a serious injury and hope that he's a speedy recovery, as Anas Zarouri has come on in his place. Certainly got attacking options. The 23-year-old Moroccan, Anas Zarouri, actually was on loan, joined Burnley for £3.4 million 2 years ago. Went on loan in the second half of last season to Hull. And that ended that loan season back at the club once again. He made 6 Premier League appearances for Burnley last season, without a goal to show for it. But in the Championship with Hull, scored 2 goals in 12 Championship appearances. Anas Zarouri. Right, back to the game. 67 minutes played. Luton 1, Burnley 2, so it's still in the balance. Luton wanting that a lot more than what Burnley are at this moment in time, and Burnley have a corner on the right hand side that they want to try and threaten to reinstate that 2-goal lead of which they had at half time. Lucas Perez to deliver this left-footed ball in. Again, cleared away at the front post. Brownhill to recycle, back to Perez on the right. Perez again looks to deliver. This time headed away by Mengi. Bouncing in the box as Luton struggle to clear their lines, and Perez quick feet in the middle. The shot easily gathered by Thomas Kaminski. But again, it's very pedestrian from Luton in their own box. They're all just standing watching the ball. No one's going to head the ball, and Perez is the first to react, and he just brings it down. And they're lucky the shot hadn't much power in it, because that would have been a dangerous effort as Burnley win the ball back high up. Odebear not given much space by Doughty there as he chips it away. And then the drag down on Zach Wilson there by Vitinho. Sees Luton get the free kick. They wanted to take it quickly, but the referee said it was a moving ball, so they'll have to retake that free kick. Luton tried to catch Burnley napping there, but the referee saw the ball was still moving, so couldn't allow that free kick. The second half has been a much more entertaining affair, although Burnley scored 2 goals in that first half. And then the balance of things, it's a much more even affair attacking wise from the two sides, both really threatening each other in the final third. Luton much more impressive in the second period, but again it's still that deficit they try and overcome in the late stages with just over 20 minutes to go, just a quarter of this game to remain, and Luton with work still to do. More defending still to do indeed, as the free kick has been given here to Burnley. The referee didn't see it first time, but he looks back round, sees a Burnley player on the floor, and now Chidozie Ogbene gets incensed with the referee's decision. And Burnley get that free kick, which they wanted to take quickly, but the referee said no. Say it again. There's a Rory there. I mean, he's just pushed to the floor. I mean, I don't know what Chidozie Ogbene's arguing about. It's a clear foul. He's literally knows he's not getting anywhere near the ball, and he just shoves Anas Rory to the floor. I mean, it's a foul all day long. So a free kick for Burnley. We saw in the first half they were good at defending these set pieces. How are they at attacking them? Trying to score from them themselves. Let's see. Quite a number of free kicks in the second half, Burnley, so they've evened it out over the course of the game. Luton having the benefit of it in the first half as Brownhill delivers deep to the back post. O'Shea was the target again, but O'Shea wasn't watching the line, and he was in an offside position. Flag went up. Mengi. Kaminski. Good touch in the midfield. Nelson. Trying to call him Wilson. Johnson. It's a go for the long ball over the top, but again, no one making that run into that channel. Maybe a bit wasteful that from Joe Johnson. And Burnley recover the ball with Trafford. And then it goes from Perez. Finding that run of Brownhill down the left, but Baptiste battling with him. Brownhill does get the better of Shandon Baptiste. Forced on the left hand side though still. Here's to Rory. Trying to lift one into the box. Takes a deflection. Will be a corner. I think Shandon Baptiste didn't feel that was a corner. He actually felt that he was fouled, but didn't look like anything in my point of view that Shannon Baptiste was fouled. So corner incoming then for Burnley. Corner comes in, flicked, headed on, and it's headed in. Lovely header, across goal, and it's Dara O'Shea that again reinstates Burnley's 2-goal lead, and a more positive second half from Luton, but Burnley's clinical edge has continued all throughout, and that's a really good header from the corner, and it's no chance for Kaminski stopping that one. And Dara O'Shea, who's been the target of a number of set pieces tonight, has that golden touch with his head that finds the back of the net once again. And Burnley have a bit of daylight once more. Really good delivery, left-footed cross. O'Shea just runs across unmarked, no one tracking him at all. Pushes his man away, and then unmarked as he goes up for the header. Gets above everyone else, and they're incredible how high he gets up. Heads it down into the ground, and just before it reaches Kaminski, it bounces up, escapes the keeper, and it's a fantastic header. And it's a wonderful goal by Dara O'Shea. He almost scored earlier on. I mean, this is a more orthodox way that we see Dara O'Shea score goals with his head. He almost scored with his foot earlier on, which is not the most common way that Dara O'Shea scores goals. Nonetheless, he scored, and Burnley need that by 3-1. And again, that mountain is back again for Luton to try and climb, but with a lot less time to do it. And Burnley in a much better position now, and they'll be much better placed heading into the final 15 minutes or so. But it would be an incredible continuation of an incredible record away at Luton. In the last 9 games, they've won 7 of those last 9 away at Luton. Burnley, this would be their 5th in a row if they were to see this one out. It just seems it's a happy hunting ground once again. Here's Vitinho spinning away and has the shot at the edge of the box, just wide. Kaminski was rooted, and that would have been game over if that had found the back of the net. Lovely first touch by Vitinho, gets past Doughty, drives in field and just tries to curl it to the bottom left corner. It just goes wide of the left post. Really good effort. And Kaminski was nowhere near getting anywhere near it. Rooted onto the spot. Luton will have that never say die attitude at this moment, and they'll get a free kick here. Brownhill committing the foul. 15 to go. Luton 1, Burnley 3. Remember, Luton haven't made any changes yet. Rod Edwards at the moment feeling that the sides on the field are best placed to try and get him what he wants out of this game. But Luton certainly had a good habit of scoring late last season in the Premier League. Only Liverpool and Man City had scored more goals in the last 15 minutes than Luton last season. Left-footed delivery from the set piece into the box. Not cleared away by Burnley. Chong picks it up on the wide right-hand side. Back to Doughty. He'll deliver in again. A bit more height with this one, and Trafford palms away. As Baptiste tried to head that forward, and it comes all the way back to Ogbene. He's trying to keep them up the field. Luton trying to stay on the front foot. I have to say they've been much better in the second half. Really impressive with the football that they've played. Much better in the final third. Much more threatening, but again, that threat from Burnley has always been there. It just kind of was dormant for a while, but that clinical edge that they have is something that would cause big concerns and big problems for a lot of teams in this division. You know, and talk about it at the Premier League level, at top level, it's, you know, you give a team the best teams one chance and they will punish it and you will be finished off. But it seems like Burnley have carried that, and at times maybe they didn't have that in the Premier League. As there's an issue here for Alfie Doughty. Looks pretty concerning. Looks like he might be struggling to breathe. That doesn't look like a good thing, as he tried to cut that one back and he got absolutely blasted in the face with the ball. It looks like a real struggle for him at the moment. And we do have the stoppage in play, and while Alfie Doughty gets that treatment, just to tell you that coming up tomorrow night we will have live first round action of the Carabao Cup. Tomorrow 7:45 kickoff from Bramall Lane between Sheffield United and Wrexham is at 8 o'clock, and we will have all the live scores from around the grounds from a selected number of fixtures, but we will have all the goals from every single tie tomorrow live on LFS. As we're back underway, and Alfie Doughty off the field at the moment, just being checked for concussion, of course, which is exactly, I want to make sure that the player is okay. That is first and foremost, and the physio's making sure that all is okay with Alfie Doughty. So at the moment, Luton down to 10. Kaminski goes long with his kick. Comes right back the way it came. Mengi to hook forward. Followed up by Walters. And that will go right over the top of the Burnley defence and gathered by James Trafford, the Burnley keeper. As Alfie Doughty's back on the field. He looks okay to continue. Of course, he had to the physios had to do those concussion checks in the sidelines. That is the protocol, to make sure that he doesn't have a concussion. Otherwise, Luton would be able to use a concussion substitute if that were the case, which is newly in place. Of course, we did witness one at the weekend, over the weekend. I do remember witnessing that at one point. As Luton will make changes now, it will be Joe Johnson that's going to make way. He's going to be replaced by Andros Townsend. A very experienced player in Andros Townsend coming on. 33-year-olds. Former Everton, Crystal Palace, Newcastle and Spurs player. Also with Leeds and Watford. I mean, there's so many teams you could be here till next year talking about the many teams Andros Townsend has played for over the years, but most recently with Everton, before Luton. As now Burnley try and break forward again. Foster now to Vitinho! Wonderful finish, and that has certainly wrapped up the 3 points for Burnley. Fabulous goal by Vitinho. Another counter-attacking move, ending in another wonderful effort from Burnley. Their clinical edge is incredible. They are destroying the defence of Luton. And that is Vitinho to add to an already amazing night for those travelling Burnley fans. As Vitinho is doing a bit of hand gestures there, whatever that means. I don't know if it was sign language or whatever, but again, it's just right from the back, and the bursting pace from Lyle Foster just carries Burnley up the pitch from one end to the other. He just squeezes the ball through a slight gap to find Vitinho, and he just strikes it across goal. It takes a deflection on the way through off the goalkeeper, I believe. Yeah, it comes off Thomas Kaminski's right boot as he tries to save it. It takes so much power that it comes flying off Kaminski's boot, off the inside of the left post, and into the roof of the net. An incredible goal. And that really does wrap it up tonight. And you could probably argue that Burnley probably haven't deserved as much of a lead as what they have, but what you can't argue is that the 4 chances they've got, they certainly have taken them. And that clinical edge is devastating at the moment. As they're going to make changes here later on. Lad Foster, who's just got that assist, is going to be coming off. Wout Weghorst is going to be coming on. Horsfield Veghorst, a big player at international level this summer. Scored a couple of good goals at the Euros for the Netherlands. He's going to be replacing Lyle Foster. And another change incoming as well for Burnley is going to see Wilson Odobert coming off, and he is going to be replaced out there by Han Noah Masengo, the Frenchman. So Veghorst and Masengo on, and Foster and Odobert off. Lyle Foster, who didn't get on the score sheet tonight, but certainly set up one of the 4 goals, the most recent one, and Wilson Odobert scored Burnley's second of the night. So all getting in on the action. To be honest, tonight Luton haven't looked terrible. To be honest, it's been an even game for the vast majority of the night, but I said it, the chances that Burnley have had, they've just been devastating in single attacking moments. Just those bursting runs, those pacey counters, and this is another ball in behind that Masengo was chasing, and again Zach Nelson just has to put it behind for the corner. Again, it's so devastating, those little fainted balls in behind for runners off the ball. It's incredible. They've got it down to a T, Burnley, and tonight they've displayed the very best of it, and I'm sure it couldn't be a better night for Scott Parker. Maybe he wanted a clean sheet, but when you get what you get, away from home 4-1 with time still remaining, they could realistically have a wonderful start to the new season by adding another goal to it, and they would be the highest scorers on the opening weekends. That's a realistic possibility. They do have a corner here. Anas Zarouri is going to take this corner on the right hand side for Burnley. Referee just checking out Baptiste and Veghorst there, and a bit of a tussle in the box. Zarouri to take this corner. Height behind it and all the way through. Here's Masengo. Keeps it alive on the left flank. Has to go backwards. Cullen. Perez. All the way back to James Trafford. And that ball over the top is straight through to his opposing number in Thomas Kaminski. Well, I have to say tonight, Burnley's clinical edge has been fabulous, and that's been the difference between the two sides this evening. The fact that everything they've touched has turned to goals, and Luton can feel that maybe the scoreline doesn't reflect the balance of the game or the kind of ultimate way the game has gone. But to be honest, when you play a team that's on form like this, one, you have to defend better, because there's certainly moments where Luton could have denied Burnley those goals. The first 2 goals certainly avoidable, although they're trying to come back themselves here. All across the box, cleared away, and the shot from distance by Shannon Baptiste. A hopeful one, an optimistic one, that ultimately I think will get Luton a corner here. Took a deflection. As they're going to make another change. There's a bit of confusion over that change. We'll wait to see if that's going to happen now or after this corner. It looks like it will be after this corner. Doughty to deliver. Left-footed across the box. Headed away in the middle by Burnley once more. Will be a throw into Luton. Incoming. It's Darragh O'Shea there that headed that one away. It's headed into the net tonight. At the right end for Burnley. As change incoming then, Shannon Baptiste is going to come off, and Pele Ruddock Mpanzu is going to come on for Luton. Mpanzu replacing Baptiste for the final couple of minutes. Rob Edwards looks on. Really interesting to hear what he makes of this tonight. What his thoughts are about this result. Well, it's not a result at this moment. There's still time to go, but 3 goals in the next 3 minutes plus additional time is not incredibly possible as they put the cross in. Cleared away. Dorsey to pick up the ball again, but he's dispossessed there by Anna Saruri back there. Defending really well. That's wonderful pick up from Veghorst. Now to Masengo, who got a bit impatient, wanted to find Brownhill right away. Just a bit loose. Gives the ball away there. Mingy. Chong. Doughty. Ted and Mingy again. Doughty. Again tries to hook it forward, but again well blocked off by Zarori as the ball bounces back to Kaminski. Just over 2 minutes to go in this one. The opening weekend of the new season comes to a close. And we've certainly been treated to quite a number of goals this weekend. It's been very entertaining to watch all throughout the weekends. Chong. Walters. Chong to Mengi. And who's pulled back there. Will be a free kick to Luton, and there's a Burnley player down, which certainly gets an unwelcome reaction. It's Josh Cullen that's on the floor at the moment, feeling something. Get a bit of treatment from one of his teammates there, Veghorst. Bit of cramp. Either cramp or some very strange acting. I mean, we saw his acting skills a bit earlier on, Josh Cullen, when he got that yellow card, but this one maybe a bit less so. As Doughty takes this free kick, fizzed forward, again headed clear by Burnley. Benny not giving up the challenge, goes down the right hand side, but that ball again a wasted effort. Well, I didn't get to mentioning before there was another goal scored in the first half about Opta predictions, as Audibert is going to be brought off here for Burnley. Luke McNally is coming on, the Irishman, so that's going to be a change. But as I was saying, the Opta predictions about who's going to finish where and what the possibilities of their finishing positions are this season. Burnley and Luton, on the basis of over 10,000 simulations of the possible outcomes of the final league positions for the Championship. Burnley are most likely to finish in 3rd this season. Luton most likely to finish in 5th according to those occasions. So both, according to Opta, destined for the playoffs this season incoming. Although they have put the percentage predictions in terms of winning the league. Burnley have a 7.8% chance of winning the division, 7.1% chance for Luton. So there is a possibility that both of one of these two sides could be our champions by the end of the 46th game of the season. So a long season, as I say. It's a marathon, not a sprint in this division. And we're only at week 1, and we've seen many teams overcome a week 1 defeat to win the league previously. 6 added minutes then, or at least go on to do big things in this division. Your performance and result on week 1 is not indicative of your final position. As Burnley were in the box again there, and Mengi had to block it. Again, pedestrian once more from Luton there, all standing still. Burnley just more desire, more sharp to run at the ball, to win the ball. It was Masengo that was the threat that time. There's a nice run here from Mpanzu. Into space, tries to play the ball forward for Chong in the box, and yeah, just too much on that one. Goes behind for a goal kick. See this again. I mean, this is terrible defending in the box. does. He just plays it across, and no one's anywhere near it. No one's kind of aware or wanting to get the ball, and Mengi just stands still. Ultimately, he does defend it, but my goodness me, it's not convincing at all. Just out of interest, they Opta have also predicted the percentage chance of both of these two sides getting relegated, finishing in the bottom three. They do say there is a percentage chance of that happening. Of course, there's a percentage chance of anything happening in this division, of course. But Luton and Burnley will start off with, according to Opta, they have a 0.6% chance of finishing in the bottom three. Luton, they have a 0.9% chance of finishing in the bottom three in the Championship. So very, very slim chances, of course, but nothing's out of the question. 3 minutes of the 6 added on to go. And again, Burnley come forward, but Zaruri's ball straight into the hands of Thomas Kaminski. Ogbene. Nelson. I did it again. Nelson. Doughty. Now Mengi. Out to the right-hand side is Ogbene. Wants to drive forward. As the ball's into the box. Well, cleared away. Not fully cleared away. It's Townsend back into the middle. Has to be booted clear by Burnley. Good threat that down the right-hand side from Luton. Ogbene and Andros Townsend. Scott Parker certainly have a lot of positive thoughts about his side tonight, and certainly know that it's not going to be an easy ride this season for Burnley. They are picked to be one of the best in the in the division, but you know, nothing's going to be an easy ride, and he has a lot of experience at this level to know that just because you've got a victory, a pretty good victory against a pretty decent side in Luton on the opening night of the season, is not going to be you've completed the job in a sense. There's going to be a lot of tough tasks thrown at Burnley all the way throughout this season, and it's not going to be an easy run at it. If they're going to want to get back to the Premier League, it's difficult, to say the very least, for many sides, and we'll see whether it will be as difficult for Burnley. Of course, neither of these two are actually in Carabao Cup action this midweek. Of course, Burnley, they return to action 5 days' time, so not much of a wait. They're back in action on Saturday. Their first home game of the season at Turf Moor as they face Cardiff, 3 o'clock on Saturday. And Luton, well, they've got a newly promoted side to face on Saturday lunchtime. Their 12:30 kickoff. They head to Portsmouth as Pompey back in the second division in the Championship for the first time in 10 years. They got off to a draw on the opening day away at Leeds, and they've got another tough task coming their way in Luton. But it looks like Luton will be the side that will be without the points, will be without a point heading into that one. You wouldn't have predicted that before the first week of the season. But it is Portsmouth next up for Luton. Of course, these two sides will join the Carabao Cup in the second round, of course, as well as all of the Premier League sides that aren't in Europe, that haven't qualified for European places, and that will come later this month, of course. But of course, we'll have the first round action for you tomorrow night, with a lot of the other Championship sides in action, all the EFL sides in action, barring a couple of the Championship teams. 6 minutes is up, and I think Scott Parker's arguing as to why that has gone over 6 minutes, but I think he needs to calm himself. It's only 15 seconds over 96 minutes. Luton do have a corner though, which maybe is adding to his frustration there for Scott Parker, but corner was given before the 96 minutes were up as the corner comes in, and a free kick's actually gone Burnley's way. And that is that. The opening weekend of the new season concludes 40 goals over the 12 games, and this one has contributed massively to that. 5 goals tonight, 4 of the very best of this weekend from Burnley. Incredible clinical edge and finishing quality from them. Devastating against the Luton side, who wanted to get off the mark at the new season with their first home game of the campaign, but defeat at home at Kenilworth Road is not an uncommon occurrence when Burnley come to town. A 5th win in a row for Burnley on the road away at Luton, and it is their 8th in their last 10 visits here. It is not an uncommon occurrence, and that good omen of Kenilworth Road has got them a 3 points tonight. Final score: Luton Town 1, Burnley 4. An incredible result for Burnley this evening, which sees them get off the mark. They join the likes of other sides that have won on the opening weekend: Sheffield Wednesday, Blackburn, West Brom, Oxford, Sunderland, Watford, Middlesbrough, Stoke and Sheffield United. 10 sides victorious on the opening weekend of the season. A minimal amount of draws, only 2 draws in the opening weekend: Hull, Bristol City and Leeds United, Portsmouth. But everyone else either tasting a victory or defeat. A couple of home defeats as well, as I said. Preston beaten at home, Cardiff beaten at home, Millwall beaten at home, QPR, and Luton the next on that list. A big win away from home for Burnley. A great start to the Scott Parker era at Burnley. He's got promotion with Fulham and Bournemouth previously, and he want to add Burnley to that trifecta as they try and bounce back to the Premier League at the first time of asking. They're off to the perfect start with a 4-1 victory here tonight. Let's have a look quickly at the league table then, before we leave you tonight. The first round of fixtures are over, and here is the way the championship table looks. Sheffield Wednesday lead the way with the most goals, the best goal difference of the opening weekend. 3 points for them, but plus 4 goal difference after they beat Plymouth by 4 goals to nil, the biggest winning margin of the opening weekend. Burnley in second after their 4-1 win tonight. Blackburn in third, West Brom are in fourth, and Sunderland and Oxford United make up the top 6. Watford, Middlesbrough, Stoke, Sheffield United all make up the rest of those teams that have won on the opening weekend. And the top half is concluded with the 2 sides that drew 3-3 yesterday, Portsmouth and Leeds. Into the bottom half then, 13th place down, we see Bristol City. Also, they got a draw on the opening weekend away at Hull, and the rest of the sides below them all losing. Millwall, Coventry and Swansea 15th, 16th, 17th, Derby in 18th, 19th for QPR, 20th for Cardiff, and Norwich in 21st. The bottom 3 is Preston, Luton and Plymouth. But 45 games to go in the championship season, 1 down and another 45 match weeks to come. But they have got cup action for a number of them coming up in the next few days. These two have midweek off, but they're back in action on Saturday. Let's talk about the midweek action then before we leave you. Don't forget, tomorrow, as I mentioned, the Carabao Cup gets underway. The first round of the Carabao Cup gets underway tomorrow at Bramall Lane, as we watch Sheffield United take on League One Wrexham. Both sides off to a winning start in their respective leagues. They're hoping for a win in the Cup as well. We'll see how that progresses tomorrow. 7:45 we're live, and a kickoff at Bramall Lane is at 8 o'clock. But it's a winning start to the new season for Scott Parker and Burnley. Luton with work to do, but they've 45 weeks to do it. Good night. Thanks for your company.